What's going on, guys? Welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm Robert Durden, and updates on PFC here. I have ordered a couple of things in the mail to help me work on the sound, to get the sound fixed, so I assure you that's coming. I have a couple of episodes here prepared for you guys today, one of which has already been recorded. I just have to edit it. That's the interview with the local artist Eric Scott, and we had a discussion on censorship, and one of his paintings was actually forced to be taken down of the window of his studio. I will be posting, that'll be like the thumbnail for that conversation that we had. And then I've got another episode coming sometime tonight. We're going to be talking about Matt Taibbi's book, The Divide. And I'm reading that right now. I just finished chapter 2, Frisk and Stop, so we'll be discussing that tonight. This episode is about a Vice News article on the Teamsters Union. They're forming an Amazon division, and they just voted on this recently. It was almost unanimous. So now the Teamsters Union is really going to help Amazon workers get the things that they fought for and lost in Bessemer, Alabama. So I'm going to read you here from Vice, and this is awesome news because the tactics they'll be using will be much more effective, and with the help of the Teamsters, we might actually see a lot of these Amazon factories unionize. So the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, one of the country's largest and most powerful unions, has said an official resolution obtained by Motherboard that unionizing and building worker power at Amazon is the top priority moving forward. The announcement comes on Prime Day, one of Amazon's busiest days of the year. At their virtual convention on Tuesday, Teamster delegates from roughly 500 local Teamsters unions will also receive a copy of the resolution, which will receive a vote on Thursday and is expected to pass resoundingly. And it did. There were 1,671 votes, and the vote passed, 1,571 votes, and it passed 1,562 to 9. So only 9 people voted against it. The resolution states the Teamsters plan to create a special Amazon division specifically to aid Amazon workers in unionizing and defending the standards in the logistics industry and will fully fund the project. If implemented, the project will be the most ambitious and focused endeavor so far in the United States to organize the fiercely anti-union retail behemoth. Since its founding in 1994, Amazon has kept unions out of its workforce and is on track to become the country's largest employer within the next year or two. The Teamsters have 1.4 million members in the United States and Canada. Since 2016, various departments within the Teamsters have been tracking Amazon's growth and impact and speaking to thousands of workers to develop the best strategies for organizing Amazon workers, according to the resolution. At the convention, the Teamsters will declare a sharper, unified approach across the Teamsters International, 500 local unions, and dozens of joint councils. Amazon did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. Of course they didn't. Earlier this year, following an intense union-busting campaign led by Amazon management and hired consultants, Amazon warehouse workers in Bessemer, Alabama voted against unionizing in a landslide defeat for the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, RWDSU, which ignited a wave of interest among Amazon workers from New York City and Iowa City in forming unions and having a say in their wages, workplace safety protections, productivity requirements, and rest time. With the Amazon project, the Teamsters are taking a different approach that doesn't rely on the traditional National Labor Relations Board election process that allows employers to run sophisticated anti-union campaigns and involves the task of running elections warehouse by warehouse. Instead, the Teamsters plan to focus on a series of pressure campaigns involving work stoppages, petitions, and other collective actions to push Amazon to recognize a union and bargain over working conditions. This tactic mirrors how the Teamsters organized its first members, horse drivers, grave haulers, and beer wagon drivers who did not have union rights in the early 20th century, using shop floor strikes, citywide strikes, and other mass collective action in the streets. So this is awesome news. This is the better tactic, and this is how it should be done. And they have, like I said, over a million, 1.4 million between us and Canada. I imagine probably close to a million people, if not over a million people in this country. So this is extremely helpful for them, and for Amazon workers, this is the type of thing we need to be doing. So this is absolutely great news. I think this will be more effective. The Bessemer, Alabama letdown, that had largely to do, we're finding out, with a huge amount of union busting techniques that they use down there. And Status Quo with Jordan Sheridan has been finding similar things happening up in New York where they're trying to do the same thing. So I think this will be better. I think work stoppages and strikes and hitting the streets is always going to be more effective because you hit them in their pocketbook. They come to the table knowing that you're willing to walk off the job. They're going to pay you what it takes to keep you on the job. So you have to be willing to basically shoot the hostage here. You have to be willing to show that you're willing to walk off the job and strike, and everybody's willing to do it, because then it'll hit them, Jeff Bezos in his pocketbook, and then he'll have no other choice but to actually come to the table and negotiate with these workers, because they get treated horribly. I think it was, I forget who it was that was reporting on this. It might have also been Jordan Sheridan. Amazon workers get injured like way more often than other people in this industry. And it's because they don't have any safety standards for their workers. They also make them work for an inordinate amount of time without bathroom breaks. They keep them up to a productivity quota, which a lot of times makes people hurt themselves because they have to always be hitting this enormous quota that is really, really hard to hit. And a lot of the people that work here are, they're older people with back problems or arthritis, or younger people that have been brought on and it's one of their first jobs, and they end up injuring themselves on the job, and it affects their quality of life and sometimes lingers for years or decades afterwards. Amazon doesn't give a shit about that. It was on Breaking Points yesterday. They were talking about how it's in the business model for employees that aren't pegged as managerial material within the Amazon ecosystem, that they are chewed up and spit out after 3 years. And they tried to do that on purpose to recycle widgets, recycle pawns in their system, because they see you as, if you're not going to adopt their ideology and become a manager and work your way up and play by their rules, they don't want you there for very long, because the longer you're there, the likelier you are to get fed up with their conditions and try to unionize. So what they're trying to do is de-incentivize unions by simply just finding out who the people are that are religiously cultish to worshiping at the altar of Amazon. They make those people managers, and everybody who doesn't agree with that doesn't want to be a manager, they just chew you up and spit you out after 3 years, and they try to kick you out as fast as possible around that 3-year mark, because they know that the longer you're there, if you're there 4 or 5 years, you're going to try to start a union. You're just going to get fed up with it. So they try to chew up and spit out their workers on purpose to avoid unionization. It also makes it very tough to unionize because of that fact. So this is awesome. It's going to be a much better tactic. And if you can get all these people to walk off, just do a general strike for Amazon workers alone, within a week or two, they'll have all the stuff that they want. Jeff Bezos doesn't want to keep raking in money. He doesn't want his stakeholders to lose a whole bunch of money because everybody walks off the job. Just play hardball. So this is awesome news, guys. I'll get those other 2 episodes to you later today. Keep fighting the good fight. I'll see ya.